we make things. We use our hands, minds, and machines to build, to fix, to improve. We're known as do-it-yourselfers, home improvement fans, fix-it fanatics, inventors. At our core, though, we're all makers. So let's jump in and make something.
Hi, I'm Ron Hazelton. Welcome to the show. You know, flea market finds can often transform into very attractive and functional pieces of furniture. Today, we'll make such a transformation using a combination stain and finish that avoids the mess and work of stripping while delivering strikingly handsome results. Then we'll give a plain-looking fireplace a warm traditional look and a bit of character by building a custom mantel and surround. Finally, some very useful tips on how to cut multiple pieces of wood to exactly the same length. I found this small chest at a consignment shop over the weekend. It's actually in pretty good shape, except for some surface blemishes here and there. The problem is, it's the wrong color. The plan is for this chest to end up in our son's room, which has much darker furniture. The first step in preparing this piece for a new finish is to remove the drawers and take off the hardware. I don't plan on getting rid of the existing finish, but I do want to clean it with this solvent, naphtha. I apply some to a soft cotton cloth and begin wiping in the direction of the grain. Naphtha does a good job of removing grime and oil without attacking or softening the finish itself. You can see here how much surface dirt is coming off. At frequent intervals, I unfold the cloth pad, refold it to present a clean surface, re-wet it, and continue wiping, always in the direction of the grain. The general rule here is to keep wiping until the cloth comes up clean. Now it's time for a little sanding. For convenience, I keep my sandpaper in an expanding file with the sandpaper grits labeled on the tabs. I made this cutter here in the shop from a piece of wood, a hacksaw blade, and a scrap piece of piano hinge. It quickly turns a full sheet into quarters. For this kind of sanding, I fold the quarter sheet into thirds and hold it flat in my hand. I stop at frequent intervals and refold the sandpaper, exposing a clean abrasive surface. Always sand with the grain of the wood. Doing otherwise will almost certainly leave scratch marks that may not be visible until you apply a finish. Where two pieces of wood intersect, like this, be sure and sand each parallel with the grain direction. The object here is not to completely remove the existing finish, but to eliminate any surface oxidation or loose material. I've decided to take off this back piece so I can work on it in a horizontal position. A paint scraper is the best tool for removing hardened finish like this that is accumulated at the joint. Sanding invariably leaves a lot of dust and debris on the surface. Another cleaning, using a soft cloth dampened with naphtha, will pick up a lot of the residue. This is a tack cloth. It's quite sticky. When it's wiped over the surface, it attracts and holds any remaining dust. Now, this is a very important step since these particles would become painfully apparent once the finish is applied. The product I'm using for this project is a combination stain and finish. Since I've not stripped this piece, the original finish is still there, and a conventional wood stain would not penetrate into the wood. This polyurethane has colored pigments suspended in it, which is why it's important to stir it well, using a motion that lifts the pigment up from the bottom of the container where it may have settled. Avoid shaking any top coat or finish. Doing so can introduce air bubbles. These three finishes have the same polyurethane base, but different color pigments. To see which one will look best, I make up 3 sample boards. The center one is the closest to what I want. Next, I clip this plastic spout onto the can and carefully pour the finish into a clean container. This one-step stain and finish is an oil-based product, so I'm choosing a high-quality brush designed for use with all types of finishes. In my book, the better the brush, the better the end result, and I'm not exaggerating. I've noticed that the surface of this chest continues to have a somewhat slippery feel, despite the fact I've cleaned and sanded it. So I'm going to test a section for possible silicone contamination. Well, my suspicions are confirmed. These craters that are forming are caused by silicone that's penetrated into the existing finish and, in spots, is repelling the new finish I'm trying to apply. So where does silicone come from? Well, the most likely source is spray or liquid furniture polishes. Repeated use over time builds up residue, which becomes apparent during refinishing. Shellac has the ability to seal off silicone, providing a barrier that isolates it from the new finish. The best way to load a brush, especially when using a finish like this one, is to wet the bristles about halfway up, then gently slap the brush on the side of the container. Apply the finish in straight, even strokes, moving in the direction of the grain. Once a section is coated, hold the brush at a 45-degree angle and move smoothly from one end to the other. This technique, called striking off, ensures that the polyurethane and suspended color pigments will be distributed evenly and uniformly. Generally speaking, using a light touch will minimize brush marks. Avoid overbrushing. As soon as the surface looks good, stop. I let the finish dry overnight. The next day I put on new drawer pulls, reattach the original escutcheons, and reinstall the drawers. From a consignment shop find to an attractive piece of furniture that's a perfect complement to my son's room. A project made faster and easier with a one-step finishing solution that doesn't require stripping.
We're here in Novi, Michigan, and the drive here was simply beautiful. Novi is a western suburb of Detroit, and we're dropping in on the Copa family to show you how to create a handcrafted fireplace mantel.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi.
Mark, come on in. Ron, this is the fireplace we were talking about earlier.
See how basic and flat it is?
Kind of plain, guys.
Yeah, it needs
Kinda
something
plain.
outstanding here.
Okay, listen, well, based on what you told me over the phone, I created this little drawing. Didn't know I was an artist, did you?
Oh.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
it looks good.
Okay, yeah, that looks
Okay.
good. Adds a lot of dimension.
Okay, so we'll use this as kind of a working plan.
Okay.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4 workers and the coach. So you ready to go?
Ready.
Let's do it. Come on. The same thing. Our first step is to remove the existing molding that surrounds the fireplace using a pry bar and a wide putty knife to protect the wall. Okay, good. Put your left hand here.
Okay.
Next, we begin cutting out the pieces for the fireplace surround from standard dimension pine lumber that we got from the Home Improvement Center. Sue and Missy do the cross-cutting, while Mark, Brandon, and I do the ripping. All right, Copa family, come, let us build together. Missy applies wood glue to the 3 pieces that will make up the sides of the fireplace surround, and then we assemble them together.
Brandon's going to nail.
Since we'll be doing a lot of nailing today, I brought in my pneumatic nail gun and given the family an introductory lesson.
Now we've made up 3 of these sections. This is going to form a surround for the fireplace. These 2 go on the sides, and this one goes up here on the top. Let's hold this up in place here. We've drawn a level line. So see this mark right there? Mm-hmm. That's where I'd like you to hold that.
Okay.
Let me have you level. Guys, get on the line. Let me know when you're there.
I'm good.
All right, that looks good to me too. All right, so hold it in place, and we're gonna nail this. I've marked some studs right here. We found these with a stud finder. It's right in here. Now this is the side surround right here. I'm gonna do 2 things. Don't worry, just glue.
You're going to get me.
This is construction adhesive. I'm going to put some dots of this right here. This side is going to go up against the tile. So since I can't nail that, I'm going to rely on this glue to hold it. All right, guys, now put that in position. This is the top right here.
Right here. There you go. Okay, slip it right in there. Okay, Sue, why don't you grab the level? Once again, we attach the sections using the nail gun. Okay, why don't you do the last one down there, Mark?
All right, I'll get it.
A piece of 1x10 pine and a decorative molding are combined to form the mantel. They're glued and nailed together. We're going to set this back from the edge of the board right here, just a tiny amount, about 1/8 of an inch right here. Little reveal, it'll give us an extra bit of detail. Okay?
Spacing good on that?
Excellent. Now this is the molding we're going to put on the ends of the mantel right here, so of course it'll look the same as the front. Put some glue down here and on the joint. And then we'll just set this right in here like that and nail it in place. I'm putting just a little bit of construction adhesive down here on the top because now is the moment of our crowning glory. We're ready to put the mantel into place.
All right.
So you guys, if you would, Brandon, Missy, bring it up.
Finally.
Yay.
Flip it over
Okay.
and set it right up on top here. Mark, why don't you grab the nail gun?
Okay.
All right, now these are called plinth blocks or corner blocks. What they're designed to do is to simulate the top and the bottom of a column. So we want to put these right in the center. Okay, Missy, give me 4 nails. Bing, 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 bing. Okay? Okay, good.
Not too close to the corner.
Right there?
Good. About right here.
Keep it straight.
Okay.
And right here. Okay, and then do your
Man,
mouse.
good work.
We also nail plinth blocks to the bottom of the surround
Good job.
and to the sides as well.
Perfect.
Right here?
Yeah. Okay, then bring that head down flat.
At this point, the whole family is becoming expert at
Hold it in.
using the nail gun.
All right, you did a good job.
Does that look good?
Yep.
Okay.
Put one each corner.
Put one right here. Back down in the basement, we begin cutting decorative molding for the face of the surround. To attach the smaller molding, we've switched to a pneumatic brad nailer. These very fine, almost needle-like nails will prevent splitting. Very nice, guys. Very nice. Okay, now let's have the younger generation try the panel up here. You saw Mom and Dad do it just the same way. Put the, start with the short piece on the left side. Now the final thing is to place this piece of decorative molding between the plinth block and the surround. It fits right in there like that. It's mitered on the ends. And we just tack this in place. The brad nailer. Put one in here. And just about done. Next, we use interior grade spackle to fill the nail holes and minor surface imperfections. And then the whole family starts painting.
Neatly, guys, neatly.
It's primer. Do you
know-
have to get the strokes perfect?
It's taken us the better part of 2 days to complete our project. Right now, we're just one coat of paint away from being finished. And how does Brandon feel about it all? Brandon?
I want it to be done.
You want to? But finished we are, and the transformation is striking.
This is great. I've got room for all my knickknacks and my pictures of all my family and pictures of our good friends.
Yeah? Hey, that's me! That's me! Fantastic! I love it! I'd build a mantel any day to display myself. Okay, guys, you were wonderful. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Great
That's
job,
great. Thank
family.
you.
Good team. Okay?
Sure.
Enjoy. Now, anytime you've got to cut 2 or more pieces of wood to exactly the same length, this is the way you don't want to do it. You don't want to take a tape measure and measure and mark each one, because every time you do this, you can introduce a small error, and in some projects, that can be critical. But here are 4, count them, 4 ways to cut multiple boards to precisely the same length. Method 1. Measure and mark one board, then cut it to length. Write pattern or sample on the cut piece. Now, instead of measuring and marking additional pieces, use the pattern. Make sure the ends are flush and use a sharp pencil for the marking.
Now remember, it's important to use the same pattern every time. If you start changing patterns, you can start changing the length of the wood you're cutting. Now the second way to cut multiple pieces to exactly the same length is to lay them down on a bench top, square up the ends, clamp them together, measure and mark one time, and then cut all 4 pieces at once. Now, if you've got a whole lot of pieces to cut or clamping things together is impractical, here's a third technique using the power miter saw. Clamp a strip of wood to the miter saw fence. I'll call this the auxiliary fence. A 1x4 or a 1x3 is a good size. With the board clamped, cut off the end. Now put the measuring tape on the cut end and measure and mark the length of the boards you want to cut. Place a scrap piece of wood on the mark and clamp it in position. I call this a stop block. Place an oversized piece of stock on the saw table and slide it until the end contacts the stop block. Hold it firmly and make the cut. Any number of pieces can be cut this way with identical results. And finally, here's how to use that same stop block technique on a table saw. Once it's attached, I cut partially through the auxiliary fence. Then drop the end of the tape into the saw kerf, measure down the fence, mark the finished length of the boards I'm cutting, and clamp on the stop block. Here, I set the workpiece on the table saw, slide it down until it contacts the stop block, hold it securely against the auxiliary fence, and make the cut. Well, you can't get much better than that. 4 ways to make repetitive cuts that are virtually identical.
To view today's projects again, visit ronhazelton.com, where you'll find hundreds of how-to videos available 24/7. Free home improvement videos online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.